Doria Ragland has said enough is enough. I'm moving out of Montecito for good.
You really got to remind people that his mother-in-law, Doria, when she met Meghan's father...
Very, very bad for both of them. Meghan, who screamed, "Don't leave me, don't leave me," and Harry, who actually...
It all began with something so soft, so quiet, that most people didn't even notice it at first. A question. Not shouted, not announced, not wrapped in drama. Just a whisper. Meghan's own mother, Doria, leaning in one day and asking something that sent a chill straight through the room. "What are Archie and Lilibet like?" she asked. "I've never really seen them." And just like that, the air changed. Because think about it for a second. A grandmother is supposed to know her grandchildren. She's supposed to talk about their little habits, their laughs, their favorite foods, the way they cling to her legs or run into her arms. But Doria couldn't. Not because she forgot, not because time had passed, but because, according to her, she was never really around them. And once that question was out there, once it existed in the open, it was impossible to ignore. If their own grandmother barely knew them, then who actually did? That single whisper cracked something open, a door no one expected to peer behind. And what came next? That's where things start to feel unsettling. Because someone who lived inside that mansion, someone who saw it from the inside day after day, finally decided she couldn't carry it anymore. Before we go any further, let that sink in. This wasn't a random outsider. This was someone who worked there. Someone who cleaned those rooms, walked those hallways, lived inside that space for months. And what she says she saw, or more importantly, what she says she didn't see, is the kind of thing that makes you rethink everything. Now, when the maid finally spoke, her voice was disguised, not because she wanted attention, not because she wanted fame, but because what she was carrying had become too heavy to keep inside.
Almost like it's not your child, it's the institution's child. She's saying, no, this is my baby. I'm new to being a grandma.
She worked in Meghan and Harry's house for months, 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week. That's not a quick visit. That's not a passing glance. That's a life lived inside someone else's walls. You see everything at that point. You feel the energy. You hear the rhythms of a home, or at least you're supposed to. But here's what bothered her from the very beginning. The house never felt alive. It didn't feel like a home where children lived. It didn't feel warm or chaotic or full of noise. It felt staged. Like a movie set. The kind where everything is placed just right for the camera, and when filming stops, everything freezes. Perfect. Too perfect. Every room she walked into looked untouched. The living room cushions were always at perfect angles. The kitchen...
Mother who actually brought her up, who paid for her private education while her mother was in jail.
When was her mum in jail?
Counters were spotless, like nobody had cooked there in days. The bedrooms looked like something out of a luxury furniture catalog, not like places where people actually slept, dreamed, or lived. Nothing felt used, nothing felt personal, nothing felt real. And the strangest part, it wasn't what she saw, it was what she didn't. Anyone who has ever been around kids knows this. Kids leave evidence everywhere. Toys get abandoned in corners. Tiny shoes get kicked off by the door. Crayons roll under furniture. Stuffed animals end up on couches. There's always noise, laughter, crying, footsteps running when they shouldn't be, cups left on tables, sticky fingerprints on freshly cleaned windows. That's life with children. That's reality. But in this mansion, none of it existed. No toys, not even one. No children's clothes hanging to dry or folded in the laundry. No laughter echoing down the hall. No crying in the middle of the night. No juice stains. No crumbs. No stray socks. Nothing. Zero. It was like the house had been wiped clean of any proof that children lived there at all. She started pausing in rooms, almost holding her breath, waiting to hear something. Anything. Something to confirm she wasn't imagining things. But all she heard was silence. Thick, heavy silence. The kind that makes your chest feel tight. the kind that feels wrong.
Insiders say Raglan's departure has left Markle 43 and Prince Harry 40 struggling to adjust without her.
At first, she told herself she must be missing them. Maybe they were napping. Maybe they were in another wing of the house. Maybe they were just always out when she was working. But days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the silence never broke. One afternoon, she quietly asked another staff member, "Do you ever see the children?" The woman didn't hesitate. She just shook her head and whispered, "Never." And that single word hung between them, heavy and uncomfortable, because this wasn't after a few days. This was after months of being there, sunrise to sunset, opening every door, cleaning every surface. The world believed Archie and Lilibet were growing up safe and happy behind those gates. But the people inside, they couldn't find a single trace that they were actually there. As time went on, other things started to stand out. Meghan's presence in the house didn't feel like a mother coming home. It felt like a guest arriving for an appointment. She would show up 3 or 4 times a week at first, but she never stayed long. She swept in fast, always busy, always talking, always surrounded by people, never alone. There was always Marcus Anderson, always assistants, sometimes full camera crews with lighting and sound equipment. And when the cameras were there, Meghan was different. She spoke more, she smiled more, she moved with purpose, like she was hitting marks, saying lines, performing. And the second someone said they got the shot, the smile dropped, the warmth disappeared, and she'd leave. Just like that. The staff noticed it. They felt it.
It didn't matter where they landed. You know, I just wanted them to be happy and so that I could be with them.
This wasn't a family home. It was a production set. Then came the night that changed everything. The maid was finishing her routine in the kitchen when she heard raised voices. Not normal voices, angry ones. Sharp, cutting. She recognized Meghan's voice first, then Harry's. But Harry wasn't angry. He sounded desperate, like he was begging for things to stop. When she looked in, she saw Harry sitting with his head in his hands, completely defeated. Meghan pacing, Marcus Anderson trying to calm things down. The air was thick, heavy. After that, the house went silent in a way she'd never felt before. Cold, pressing, like something had cracked. She brought Harry a glass of water. He whispered, "Thank you," so softly it almost broke her heart. And in that moment, she saw it. The exhaustion, the sadness, the weight. This wasn't just a bad argument. This was something deeper, something ongoing. And then came the detail that shocked everyone the most. The maid says she never once saw Meghan pregnant, not with Archie, not with Lilibet. She was there during the exact time frames when those pregnancies were supposed to be happening. She saw Meghan up close, day after day. No baby bump, no sickness, no changes, nothing. She questioned herself. She didn't want to jump to conclusions. But when she quietly asked others, they said the same thing. No signs, no appointments, no vitamins. No cravings, no special meals, nothing. Outside the gates, the world saw glowing magazine covers and perfect photos. Inside, the staff saw none of it. When the documentary aired later, the maid was stunned. The house shown on screen wasn't the house she worked in. The layout was wrong. The garden was different. The rooms didn't match. The children playing in spaces she'd never seen children play. That's when it hit her. This wasn't privacy. This was secrecy. Staff had their phones taken. Bags searched. Cameras watching them. Not the doors. One woman took a photo of flowers and security deleted it on the spot. The silence made sense now. No children's clothes in the laundry. No children's food ordered. No toys cleaned up. Every worker noticed the same absence. And it all circles back to that whisper, Doria's question. If the people inside that house never saw Archie and Lilibet, then where were they? The world sees images, smiles, stories. But the people who lived behind those doors describe emptiness, silence, a carefully crafted story with cracks running through it. And when those cracks widen, the truth doesn't shout, it whispers. just like it did in the beginning. And that whisper didn't just fade away after the staff left for the night. It followed them home. It sat in their thoughts when they tried to sleep. It popped back up in the most ordinary moments, like standing in a grocery store aisle watching a tired parent negotiate with a whining toddler, or hearing a child laugh too loudly in a quiet cafe. Every time, the same thought crept back in, slow and unsettling. Why did none of that exist in that house? The maid said what disturbed her most wasn't anger anymore, or shock, or even fear. It was confusion. Deep, gnawing confusion. Because if this was really about privacy, then where was the mess? Where was the exhaustion? Where was the chaos that comes with trying to raise children away from the spotlight? Privacy doesn't erase fingerprints from windows. Privacy doesn't stop toys from appearing in corners. Privacy doesn't make a home feel hollow. What she experienced wasn't protection. It was absence. She remembered how staff would instinctively lower their voices, even when there was no reason to. How laughter felt out of place. How every day felt the same, empty but tense. Like everyone was waiting for something to happen, but nothing ever did. And the longer she worked there, the more she felt like she was walking through a carefully guarded illusion, one that required absolute silence to survive. Other workers felt it too. You could see it in their eyes. The laundry worker folding endless adult clothes with no tiny socks mixed in. The grocery coordinator scrolling through orders, never adding anything meant for a child. The cleaners dusting immaculate shelves that never held picture books or toys. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. Something fundamental was missing. And then there was Meghan's image. The way it existed so loudly outside the house and so faintly inside it. On screens, she was warm, maternal, glowing. Inside those walls, she was distant, passing through, always in motion, always accompanied, never settled. The contrast was jarring. It felt like two completely different worlds coexisting, never touching. Harry, on the other hand, felt painfully real. The maid couldn't forget the look on his face that night. The way his shoulders slumped, the way his voice cracked when he said thank you. He looked like a man drowning quietly, trying not to make waves. Someone who had lost his footing somewhere along the way and didn't know how to get it back. That moment stayed with her more than anything else, because it felt honest. And honesty was rare in that house. After she left the job, people asked her why she didn't speak sooner. She never had a dramatic answer. She just said she was scared. Scared of losing her livelihood. Scared of being painted as bitter or untrustworthy. Scared of saying something that couldn't be taken back. But mostly, she was scared because she didn't fully understand what she had witnessed herself. It takes time for truth to settle, especially when it clashes so violently with the story everyone else believes. Even now, she doesn't claim to have all the answers. She doesn't pretend to know where the children are or what the full truth is. She only knows what she lived, what she saw, and what she didn't. And sometimes, the things that are missing speak louder than anything else. The world loves a polished narrative, a beautiful family, a fresh start, a fairy tale rewritten. And maybe that's why so many people never stop to question it. But behind closed doors, away from cameras and headlines, reality has a way of revealing itself in small, uncomfortable details. In silence, in empty rooms, in unanswered questions. That original whisper still hangs in the air. What are Archie and Lilibet like? It should be such an easy question, one filled with stories and smiles and warmth. But instead, it opened a door to doubt, to unease, to a growing gap between what's shown and what's lived. And until that gap is closed, until the silence is explained, people will keep wondering. Because the truth doesn't need to scream to be powerful. Sometimes, all it takes is a whisper that refuses to go away.